and we are live. And I just need to pause a minute because what will happen is it actually comes up on my screen too. And if I don't pause it, you'll hear me speak like afterwards. It does a weird thing. So I'm just waiting for it to come up so I can pause, and then I'll start the meeting. And we do have quite a bit to cover, so maybe this kind of works out well. There we go. And voila, so I am ready to share my screen. And welcome to our October 2020 meeting. We're supposed to have guest speaker delegate Hala Yala. I miscommunicated with her or something. I'm not sure, but at any rate, we're gonna trudge on and we'll be fine. Going forward with our meetings, we're going to keep the same meeting ID. So you can go ahead and save this meeting ID and password for future so it doesn't get confusing. If you want to go ahead and put it to your calendars now, this will be the same code and link for everything going forward. So I just wanted people to know that. And if you can, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America. And to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. So I'm going to stop share there, and we'll continue with our view. So some things that I just want to make people aware of. We are out of the large 4x4 barn signs. I have learned that it is becoming more and more apparent that Hanover Democrats are growing, and there are more people that want signs. So going forward in the future, we'll make sure to purchase a lot more going forward. We have had quite a few of our signs stolen or damaged by some vandals around the area. We have alerted the police. We've alerted our registrar. Sheriff Hines is mentioned that there's extra presence out there, so don't confront people, call the police. But just know that we're aware of what's going on, and be on the lookout for a new design. There's some fresh looks that our committee is looking into. And if you're looking to get involved, or people that want to get involved, please reach out to Don Barth. I'm going to put his email into the chat right now. It's donna.don@comcast.net, and he will be able to help you get involved or help your friends get involved in what you can. I know many of you are already have already participated in early voting, but just to remind people that they can vote absentee early, they can vote curbside, they can go in person. Voting is now Monday through Friday, but starting on October the 24th, we'll have 2 Saturdays where you could go on a Saturday and vote early, and there'll be a little car rally meeting up at Gandy Elementary School, I think around 8:30 for people to go to the voting booth. And just in case you want to get in contact with our registrar's number is 365-6080, and that's just another reminder. And again, I'll put that into the chat as well. The registrar is 365-6080 if you have any questions for our registrar. So I'm going to give one last chance to see if our guest speaker is here. Is Hala Yala with us? No. Okay. Well, if you want to hear from what would have been our guest speaker and many others, come out tomorrow at the front lawn of Town Hall, 101 Thompson Street, and we will have there the Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, our state senator, a bunch of Democratic leaders out in support of Mark Warner and Qasim Rashid. So hope to see everybody. Music starts at 1:30, The speeches start at 2 o'clock. Social distance, wear a mask, bring an umbrella, because we're going to do it rain or shine. So it is my great pleasure to introduce someone that I greatly admire. And he's both the president of the Hanover NACP, and he's the president of the Virginia NACP. And Robert Barnette has some things he wanted to share. He asked for a few minutes, but I'm going to give him a little bit more than a few minutes. So Robert, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the time, and good morning to all Hanover County Democrats. It's a great day to be Democrats. And I just want to pass on a few things that have been going on. And I thank Dan for those reminders. First of all, I'd like to say yesterday at the Board of Elections, we had I call a banner day with regards to elections. And I just want to pass on some information with regards to what we had yesterday. As of the close of business yesterday, just Friday, we had 1,149 people vote in person. 1,149 people vote in person absentee. And 70 of those were curbside. So let people know that they can vote curbside if they like. In total, in-person absentee was 10,980. Again, 10,980 folks have voted in person in Hanover County, and a total of 780 persons have voted curbside. 12,000, a little over 12,000 have requested vote by mail. And right now, Hanover County has seen 27% turnout from absentee voting, 27% turnout. And just remind you, Hanover has a little over 80,000 registered voters. So that's a huge, huge amount for absentee voting. And so the next 3 weeks we're just anticipating that to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So absentee voting is going well. And again, I'll just go over some of the things that Dan mentioned just in case. October 13th, these are what we call election timelines. October 13th is the deadline to register to vote. If you haven't registered, you got to get it in before October 13th. October 23rd, the last day to request a vote by mail ballot. October 23rd is that deadline. October 31st, the last day for in-person absentee voting. October 31st, last day for in-person absentee voting. And of course, the big day, November 3rd, Election Day. Polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m. Around 7:10 p.m., we'll begin reporting in-person Election Day results. About 7:10, you'll start seeing them on the election website of the count that we have so far. At 11 p.m. on November 3rd, we will pause processing any remaining mail ballots. And as soon as possible, we'll start up reporting those results of what we call central absentee precinct. This is the precinct that all of the absentee ballots go into. So about 11 o'clock, we'll stop the counting, and then we'll start back up the next day, November the 4th and 5th. We'll continue processing the remaining mail-in ballots and look at the provisional ballots. Now, November the 6th is the deadline to accept mail-in ballots from the post office. November the 6th is the deadline to accept mail-in ballots delivered by USPS. And we'll begin to report those results of any additional absentee ballots as well. And the final deadline for the election officials to validate provisional ballots is November the 10th. Final day to validate provisional ballots is November the 10th. And so that's the election timeline. And I think it's important to realize that even though November the 3rd is election day, we'll be busy counting ballots at least till November the 10th to make sure we have the final results of the ballot counting process in Hanover County. So with that, I'll stop and ask if there's any questions on the election timeline or any other election related questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Catherine. I'm new. Everybody.
Hi, Catherine.
I wondered if Virginia is hopefully in a large majority voting for Biden, and the outstanding mail-in ballots won't make a difference, will everybody still count those ballots, or will they just call the election for Biden, which would be hopeful, before, on the 3rd or the 4th, or, whatever day that might be, when it doesn't matter anymore what's outstanding?
Well, first of all, I don't know about Virginia, but I do know about Hanover County. We're going to count all of the ballots that come in by the date that we have put out there. We won't probably know the winner of the election by November 3rd. And so we'll still have absentee ballots to process, mail-in ballots to process, and we'll have provisional ballots to process. And again, if we receive them into the registrar's office, we are obligated to count them. And and we will count them based on how we receive them and if they are registered voters qualified to vote in this election.
I feel like I've heard in the past that, they haven't counted in the absentee ballots because there weren't enough outstanding to make a difference in the result.
No, that's not the case. We're going to count all absentee ballots if they are qualified to be cast in Virginia.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to ask what would make you get a provisional ballot?
A provisional ballot may be given, or the person could fill out a provisional ballot if they don't have an ID. As you know, you don't have to have a picture ID, but there are other forms of ID that you can submit as well, like a water bill. Well, you might not have a water bill, or you might not have other forms of ID. But what that provisional ballot does is says that you are who you say you are under the penalty of law. So if you falsify that statement, you can be prosecuted. And so we ask the person to fill out a provisional ballot and then come back before a specified time, and it's usually Friday by noon, to show us you are who you say you are. That's why you would typically may have to fill out a provisional ballot. And that allows people not to be turned away at the polls. We don't want anybody to be turned away from not voting. And the provisional ballot allows us to do that.
Robert, last
Yeah.
month, we had talked about noon on November 6th. Are
Mhm.
you picking up the mail on November 6th, or will you take the mail that's received to the to the county as of the end of the day, November 6th?
As far as we were told, the end of the day.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, the provisional ballots that come in after November 3rd,
Mhm.
will you also be getting back with the voters to try to get them to turn in their information so that you can certify by the 10th?
Right. Again, the provisional ballots will be validated by November the 10th. And we tell them before they leave the polls, you have X amount of days to come to the registrar's office, or you can fax that information in. You can fax it in and say that I did not have a proper ID on November the 3rd, but this is who I am, and the registrar will process it at that particular time.
But you guys will not follow up on those people. It's up to them to get back to you.
Right. They have to get back to us because, again, they are the persons who have signed that letter saying that they are who they say they are.
Let me ask another question. I've signed up to be a county poll worker this year.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
and you're welcome. I believe that they said that and I might have missed this because I got a text when you were talking, but you would also get a provisional ballot if you were mailed an absentee ballot and don't bring that with you to turn in at the polls. So you might have your ID fine, but if you have been mailed an absentee ballot and you show up in person, you need to bring that ballot with you. So people need to know that. Otherwise, you have to vote provisionally so the board can make sure you didn't fill in your ballot, and because you cannot get a second ballot, which is
that is correct. That
Yeah.
is correct.
So if people decide not to mail that in, they really need to know to bring it with them. So
Yes, that's called ballot surrender. You surrender your mail-in ballot so you can vote in person.
Right.
Robert, one more question. The state changed the law this year for just this election. I understand that you can bring your mail-in ballot to your precinct, and there will be ballot bags there that you can just drop your ballot bag. Is that going to be advertised at all from the election?
Well, again, that is true that you can bring your mail-in ballot to the precinct, and again, they will take it, and so you can vote in person. But
No, but you can just drop it off. You don't have to vote in person on election
Oh,
day. You can drop it, and there's supposed to be a ballot bag that is a locked bag that the election chief is supposed to have, that you can just hand him your mailed ballot and then leave.
I am not aware of that, but I can follow up on that to make sure that that is correct. Yes.
Yeah, I was on a meeting yesterday, and someone had seen the bags from the city of Richmond, and I hadn't seen anything from Terry to put it out yet.
No, that's totally new to us, so I'll follow up with Terry on that.
Okay, thank you.
And this is Penny Boyd, and I had a question, but it's something I've never thought about before, so the question may not be clear. I hope you can figure it out.
Okay.
But so, like everybody in Hanover votes, how do the Hanover votes get the Virginia total? How does it get to that? And then how does the Virginia's total get put to for the Electoral College?
Okay. I think I understand what you're getting at. First of all, whether you vote in person or vote by mail, we count the ballots in Hanover. Immediately on election night, the registrar enters those results into what we call Verus. Verus is a statewide database that all of the registers can put their election results, and these election results are tentative. They are not certified. They are just tentative. Each of the 38 precincts in Hanover bring those election results after 7 p.m. once the poll closes. Now, if you are an election worker, someone from that precinct will go out and announce the totals of that precinct. They'll say that the polls are closed, and then they'll say, 25,000 votes for Joe Biden, 25 for Kamala Harris. They'll go through those election results. Then the chief of that precinct will take those totals back to the registrar's office, and Terry, the general register, will enter that information into the statewide database. That's where the statewide database will put that information out on the web, showing that tentative results from Hanover Precinct 101 or Precinct 504 reported these results. That's how it gets into the statewide database. And once so many precincts have reported, and they know how many registered voters are in Hanover, they can call the election based on the precincts that have been reported. I hope I answered your question.
That was very clear. And
Okay.
then after all of those get to the, like, after Veris gets all of the data from all the different counties and cities, then that goes to the electoral, whoever we have on the electoral college. How is it that?
The electoral college has already been decided. Basically, most states, and Virginia is one, that whoever wins the popular vote, those localities that were picked, the electoral college must submit their vote for the winner of the state election. The electoral college has already been, there are electors, and I don't know exactly who they are, but they've already been decided.
Thank you very much.
When, real quick, and I see John's hand, so sorry, John.
No problem.
Just going back on the, if you requested an absentee ballot and you got it in the mail, you can turn it in at the registrar's office.
Yes,
which I did a couple of weeks ago. It was super easy. You just go into the registrar's office and give it to them. They validate that it's properly filled out, and you're on your way. So if you don't want to mail it in, or if you don't want to go to the precinct on election day, you can drop it off at the registrar's office anytime that they're open.
Yep. Okay, John.
Robert, my question was, if you voted absentee by mail, how do you confirm that the registrar received your ballot?
Okay, we got a little code, tracking code, that you could go on the website. It's just like a UPS code. You can go on the website, click that code, and it'll tell you whether your ballot has been received. Great question. That's a new procedure that the state has put in, and that has helped us tremendously. So you don't need to come to the polling place or the precinct or the registrar's office to verify that your ballot has been received. You don't need to do that.
I did this and I didn't have to have a code. All I had to do was put in my name and address.
Okay.
And and then it told me that yes, it had a little tracker thing, and it said yes, it's been received. So it's really easy.
Really easy.
Which website was that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Where do you go on the web?
Oh, that's a good question.
You can go to the.
I just put it in the chat.
I just added it to the chat as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. Thank you.
Yeah, it's through the State Board of Elections
Right.
website. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? There's a lot of misinformation that's going out with regards to election. There's 2 amendments on the ballot as well. So again, read those carefully. Determine which way you want to vote on those as well, because sometimes people leave those off, and they are critical pieces of information that you should weigh in on.
Thank you, Robert. Would you mind sticking around for after the meeting in case
Sure.
people want to?
Sure.
Okay, good. I want to go ahead and get through the rest of our stuff because some of the campaigns might want some extra time to update, especially since this is the last meeting we have before elections. So do I have anybody from the Biden campaign and the Harris campaign? All right, do I have anybody from the Mark Warner campaign? All right, do I have anybody from the Qasim Rashid campaign?
I'd be happy to give a Qasim update if Josh isn't on.
Yeah, I don't see Josh on, so if you would, that'd be great if you could give a Qasim update. He's done a lot in this quarter. So yeah, if you could update people on all the stuff he's done, that would be great.
The truth is he's done so much. These guys are doing so much, it's kind of hard to keep up. I will tell you that fundraising is going very well. They did very well the last quarter, and you can look that up on the FEC website. The first ads are up. He's got 2 advertisements up. I actually saw one on MSNBC day before yesterday, I guess. And they're both very, very good ads. If anyone would like to see those, I expect they're on the website. If not, I can shoot you a link. The campaign has been doing some polling. They put a poll out in the field last week, and they've sort of done a tracking poll every week since. And I will tell you that name recognition for Qasim is above where it was above last month where I expected it to be, and it's gotten better. More importantly, this race is getting pretty tight. This is a lot tighter than people think it is. And there's a real chance, I mean, it sounds crazy, but there's a real chance that Qasim Rashid could win this thing. So we need to get everybody out there, making phone calls, dropping lit, whatever we can do to turn folks out who don't normally vote. I saw a statistic, I think the other day that this is more national, but something like 7 million people have voted absentee already. And this was last week, this across the country. But the most interesting thing about that is that something like 20% of those are people who didn't vote in 2016, didn't vote in 2012. So we're turning out some new folks. And my own thinking is that most of these new voters are likely to be Democrats, because we all know that the other side's always enthusiastic, and we have to fire people up more to get them to show up. And when we do that, we win. So Don's doing great work. You guys are all doing great work to sort of turn folks out and to help people vote, help them understand the process this year in these tricky times. But Qasim is going to continue to beat down the doors and get people out and win this thing. I think you all know about the event tomorrow. There's an event a live event. He'll be in the Tappahannock area this afternoon at 3. And we're just looking forward to closing this thing out. We're making the closing arguments, and we really appreciate all of you folks helping us do that. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. No questions?
Daniel,
Yeah.
Dan, let me say that for both Biden's campaign, the coordinated campaign, and Qasim's, we need phone callers. It's automatic dialing, so it goes very quickly. You do it off your computer. for Consalms, we also need people to drop literature at the doors. No personal contact, so just drop it by the door. If anybody wants to do any of these things, certainly touch base with Stan or touch base with me. And Daniel put up my email before, but we need people. And again, the weekend of the 24th and 25th, and the weekend of the 17th and 18th and 24th and 25th. That's a get out the vote weekends, and we need people to work their butts off to get our people in there. So everybody's interested, back to me.
I'm sorry, Don, I keep stepping on you.
Go ahead.
I just put my email address, my campaign email address. I mean, I'm sure you guys all have the R. Stenton Scott at Comcast, but I just put the campaign email address. If you'd like a sign, if you want to help, phone banking, whatever, talk to Don or reach out to me, and we'll give you something to do. And if I can help anyone with anything, please just let me know.
Stan, Jane Lux here. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
2 questions, actually. Are there any more debates planned? I know that I found out about one of them through Instagram, I believe, and it was at the very end. So we didn't see a lot of the debate, but what I saw, I was very impressed with. The other question is, has Whitman done any kind of response at all to his negative ad about Qasim's being related to terrorism? Has he given any kind of response to that negative ad?
Good, both good questions. Thanks, Jane. I think Qasim would be very happy to debate Rob Whitman every day for the rest of this election season, but Whitman won't do it. There have been 2. You can watch both of those in their entirety, I think, on the Facebook page and on Qasim's Twitter page. So if you'd like to go back, the first one was focused on criminal justice reform. The second one was far more general. Qasim did very well in both. With respect to the advertisement, the negative ad he put up, no, he has not responded to the pushback on that. I think that, those kinds of ads, if you do politics for a living, those kinds of ads are about, they're about turning off the other side's voters, right? They're basically, they're not going to fire up their base using that any more than they already have. But they're about getting folks like us to say, I can't vote for a guy like that. I'm going to stay home. That has not worked. It's backfired. And that kind of, all that did in this, the way things are today, all that did was fire him up and fire us up. I will tell you that the Qasim's campaign, as we close this out, the closing argument is going to be, this is a change election. Donald Trump is, he's out there. He's not doing anything right. He only cares about himself. He's not taking care of the people who need help in these terrible times. And Whitman has not spoken up. He hasn't spoken up about the suckers and losers comment about military people, which really annoyed me as a veteran. He has not spoken up about again, on the military, about the bounties that the Russians placed on American soldiers. He has not spoken up about Trump's super spreader event. He has not spoken up about the way the pandemic's being mismanaged. He just, in other words, we're trying to hang Trump around Rob Whitman's neck, and that is working. But no, to answer your question, he has not really responded. You throw that kind of mud out there and hope it sticks. And Qasim responded aggressively, and that response has gotten traction. So we hear a lot of stories about conservatives who want to help Qasim win this thing. They're doing meet and greets. We have a couple of conservatives on the Veterans Committee that are giving us some good sort of input. And
Stan, I don't want Stan. I'm sorry.
Thanks, good question.
We can continue that after this meeting. I just want to make sure we get through our meeting.
Sure. Sorry.
You're getting close to a campaign speech right now.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I appreciate it. It's good stuff, and people want to hear it. And I just want to make sure we get through our 11 o'clock. And then if you want to stick around and people want to continue to have questions, that'll be great. I do appreciate the
Dan.
update.
Thanks, Shane.
Jamie, if you're on, do you want to give an update about the Board of Supervisors and school board?
Sure, real quick. So, and some of you have heard this earlier, but school board meets on Tuesday coming up. They're going to have a formal vote on the new names for the schools. They've already decided on the names, but they have to do it in session, I guess. So they'll meet on Tuesday to do that. Additionally, the first public comment for next year's school budget, fiscal year 22, is on Tuesday as well. So if you have comments or how you would like Hanover schools to spend funding, certainly make your voice heard. You know, we've heard, and I'm sure folks have heard of some of the issues with virtual learning in the county, but so far there's been little to no accountability from the school board towards the administration. It's been a lot of back patting. So continue to look for those concerns and issues, and if you hear them, you know, raise those concerns and comment to the school board. On the Board of Supervisors front, the meeting this week on Wednesday is pretty, not a whole lot on the agenda. Congressman Whitman will be there, I guess, for his annual update, and they'll be discussing road projects in the county. I attended the broadband committee that they set up last year. I attended a meeting a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, it seems like it's the same old story. Hanover is not willing to commit the resources necessary, both financially and from a personnel standpoint, to expand broadband. Obviously, that's also an issue in the Whitman-Rashid campaign as well. And one more thing, if you guys could help, we've seen recently, especially this week, a couple of large indoor events for Republican folks. So the Amanda Chase had an event in Mechanicsville where we had at least one supervisor, maybe more there, no masks, over 100 attendees. And then last night, the Hanover Republican Committee had their Reagan Day dinner that they have every year. They went ahead with it, of course, indoors, no masks. All of the local elected officials were there. Board of Supervisors members, Buddy Fowler, Scott Wyatt. So, you know, I don't know if it's a good thing that they're promoting these super spreader events in Hanover. We're probably going to see effects from that in the caseload. So hopefully, you know, we need to make our voices heard that this irresponsible behavior is only making things worse for everybody. So, and one last thing, I have some yard signs as well. So if there are folks in Cold Harbor, Henry District, or Mechanicsville District, that this part of this side of the county, if you will, I'd be happy to deliver Biden and Harris signs and coordinated campaign signs. So thanks for the time, Dan. Anybody has any questions?
Jamie, do you know the supervisor that was at the Calabash?
Yeah, it was Michael Herzberg from Cold Harbor.
Okay.
And I think he was at the event last night. I know Sue Dibble was. I'm assuming the other supervisors were there as well, the other Republican supervisors. It's a Hanover Republican event, so I'm assuming they were all there.
Okay.
It's their version of the Blue Moon Bash, I think.
Okay. There was a question that came up. I just wanted to ask it. Rachel, do you want to give an update on postcards, or are we good with that?
Sure. We still have postcard packets. If anybody would like them, you can send me a message. We have pickup location in Ashland and in Mechanicsville, kind of Eastern Hanover. And then there are stamps also that can be provided by Louise Evans. So you can message me now or message me by other means if you would like. I can put my email address. Well, you know what? Just message me now and then I'll send you my email address if you would like to write some postcards. And we're trying to get those out by October 17th.
Excellent.
And
Thank you.
how many have been sent so far? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know the total tally, but we have about 20 packets left. And if of 30, they're 30 each. And if we get those out, it'll be 8,000 total that have gone out. And that's, Colleen Barry deserves a great deal of credit and props for managing this whole thing.
Hey,
Yes.
Rachel, this is Stan. I've got a roll of postcard stamps. If you'd like them, I'll give them to you tomorrow.
The postcards are actually big enough that we're advising people to use letter stamps.
Okay.
So.
Okay. They're sitting in my desk drawer, not being used. So.
We'll save them for the next time.
Right.
When I took my postcard to my Oilville post office, which is closer to me than Rockville post office. And she measured it for me and said it only needs a regular stamp. It doesn't need any special extra anything. Because she has a template and it fell within the template.
But not a postcard stamp, just a 55-cent regular stamp.
That's a regular stamp. Yeah. Whatever, I don't know how much a stamp is.
Thank you. On behalf of the Women's Coffee, Diane's not able to be on, so she asked me just to let you know that there is a Women's Coffee planned. Be on the lookout for an email that'll be coming out soon about the date and time. And just so you know, we're still using the same Zoom information from here on out. The Zoom information you use to get onto this meeting will be the same information to get onto the Women's Coffee and even onto the Men's Forum. Don, did you want to give an update for the Men's Forum?
Sure. Men's Forum is scheduled for October 28th, Wednesday. It's not worked out, but as soon as they're worked out, you'll get an email. But again, it's the 28th of October at 7 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you. And let's see. I have two new members to vote in. We have Catherine Earls and Dorinda Edwards. Do I have a motion to induct them into our membership?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, so we have two new members. That's great. Any new business to come before us? Seeing no new business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, so with that, we are officially adjourned. Let me stop